Hi guys, it's Rick Shiels down here at Quest Golf Studio here in Lytham. I'm going to be testing a new TaylorMade driver, which is called the M2. The M2 is here. Right, so, quick story before I unveil the club. You might have already seen images of it, but first unveil the club. As soon as I heard that there was an M2 coming out, like many of you probably watching, I rolled my eyes. I thought, oh no, they're up to their old tricks, which they've, in fairness to TaylorMade, they've been very, very good at over the last year. They've not brought much out. But then when I heard about what the club actually was, I let off a sigh of relief. Let me explain. So, the M2 is effectively an M1. So it's in the M1 family, but it's not got adjustable weights. Brilliant. Now, you might think, why? And I don't often mention price on reviews. I really don't, because I've toyed with it, and hard with it, but I found it difficult to really find the balance. This is a cheaper price point than the M1. So when it comes out, it'll be a cheaper price point than the M1 because it's not got as much adjustability. It looks identical to an M1 from the top, but all you can do is change the loft, which to me makes sense because there's a lot of drivers that are missing out on the technology of the M1 because they can't commit to that sort of level of investment, which I understand. So the M2 is coming for a lighter price point. It's not got any adjustability of weight. The weight port that's in the head is actually quite far back, but apparently it's got quite a centered CG. Instead of the weight sliding across the face, it's just got the big slot for a speed pocket. So off-centered hits is still going to generate lots of speed, but it still looks from the top as good as an M1. As good as an M1, and an M1 looks good. I don't think there's a lot of denying that. An M1 looks very good from the top. With the carbon crown, with the white border, it looks phenomenal. So what the best thing is now is that it comes out in a version where you can't adjust it. I can't see it performing anything differently to an M1. I like the fact that this is effectively it's a more forgiving M1 because you can't make the weight go all the way to the front. So this is almost like the setup I have in my M1 anyway. And I've taken the shaft. I've taken my shaft out of my M1 and put it in this M2 head. From the top, I can't tell a difference at all. And from the bottom, where I have my weight, my personal weight in my M1, the weight is in this M2. So, it's the kind of jet speed, the aero burner, the, what was the other one that they brought out? RBZ. It's that kind of club for the M1. So it's a cheaper, it's a lower price point is the best way of explaining it. But the same materials, but it's just not, it's not got adjustability. So I don't really need to talk about top of the head. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks really smart. I've got this in 9.75 because they've sent it in a 10.5 degree head. So I've lowered the loft a touch. Let's give it here. I can't see it performing anything different to the M1. And boom, there it is. I can't imagine this performing anything different to the M1. Just in my personal opinion, I just think it's got the security that you're not going to get some golfers moving the weight forward when they don't need to. I quite like that about it. I can't see it performing anything differently. It's the same materials, it's just not adjustable. That was a bit off the bottom of the head. Now, I've been using the M1 for a few months now. It's no secret that I enjoy that driver. I like hitting it. It's a very nice driver. It's performing incredibly well. When I picked this up straight away, after being familiarised with my M1, it felt lighter. The only thing I can warrant that down to, and I've not seen any stats on it, I don't know if it is actually lighter, but I would just presume because it's not got the two big weights in the bottom, or at least one of them that's not moving, the head, even when I had the heads off separately, it felt lighter, the M2 felt lighter. I'll hit another one and then explain. I want to touch on something before I finish this video. Sorry, I hit the camera there with the T-peg. But seriously, I mean, they're fly machines. I love this line of golf clubs. I love the M1, and I cannot see why anybody wouldn't love the M2. I really don't. I see that as a right marketplace. Right, the thing I want to mention before I hit another one. The big thing that's grated on me with this golf club is they called it an M2. That's the biggest thing that grated on me, because I just think if they would have called it something that still resembled an M1, so they could have called it an M1 Fast or an M1 Aero or an M1 Burner, M1 Speed, whatever it may have been, if they'd just kept it as an M1 club as well, I don't think they would have had as much. Well, I'm not sure. I'm speculating from what I've currently read on the M2 when people started hearing about it, is that they believe it's a product that's going to replace the M1. And I understand that, because if it's M2, why would it not replace the M1? If they would have just tied it in a little bit closer to the M1 with its name, don't think they'd have had that issue. That's my opinion on that, because I just think if they would have called this M1 Speed or M1 Fast or M1 Burner, they would have had a better chance of getting into more people's perspective that it's just a different M1. It's a non-adjustable M1. All you can change is the loft, in my opinion. Anyway, let's go one more. A little bit more offline that time, but not horrendous at all. Right guys, so having a quick look at the numbers going across the board. Club head speed, again, it's not got the HMT dots on, so I probably need to do a little bit more testing on that to get the club head speed, but 114, 165 or 166 ball speed. The only number that I would see changing compared to this and the M1, from where the weight would be changed, is maybe the spin rate. And that's about right. The backspin on this is about 2,500 RPM. So with the weight being a little bit further back, it's potentially not as low a spinning as the M1 that you could get it into. I know if you go weight forward with the M1, you can get it really low spinning. Carry distance there on average was 289 and total distance was 311, which is almost identical to where I probably hit my M1 in that particular setting with the weight back. So I feel as a whole, it's going to be a good driver, because a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on it because of the slightly different price point. It looks smart, it looks exactly the same. The only difference is, and I'll show an image on it, the tuned performance little logo here in the bottom corner is gold, as opposed to on the M1 it's black. That is literally it. From the top view, that is the only difference. Whether they bring this out into a 430 head, I'm not sure. Maybe a 430 head would have the weight more into the front of the head. I'm not sure, but I don't particularly think they need to. Guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that's give you an idea of what the M2 is and how it can potentially suit your game, and how it, you might not be interested. But thanks for watching the video anyway. It is not an M1 replacement. It's to sit alongside the M1, but it's just not adjustable. Why? Why did you call it M2? Anyway, let's go off that matter. Thanks for watching, guys. Do subscribe. Do comment down below. Do you reckon you'd be getting this out and giving it a whack? I think I like this setting because I already have the weight back. It kind of just feels exactly like my M1, and just maybe a smidgen lighter. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it, and then we'll see you soon. I'm going to get the fairway woods and the hybrids coming up next.